Ciao. How do you get an apartment in Saigon as a foreigner? Well, let me tell you. So, first off, this is what we would call an enclosed apartment building, a high-rise. This is the Vinhomes. We're in Vinhomes, Golden River. First, I'll kind of go over why I first lived in a small, I wanted to be in it, Viet neighborhood apartment, and it was a great apartment. The apartment itself was really great. But the issue with it was all the neighbors, like my neighbor, for example, they would come home drunk, and this is the neighboring building now. They would come home drunk sometimes at 3 a.m. and turn on karaoke and sing karaoke for 2 hours. A construction site would pour cement at midnight to 4 a.m. Construction would start at 6 a.m. and go till 10 p.m., sometimes midnight. It got to the point where it was just super frustrating. And then I had to buy all this extra stuff. So like with the small apartment, you didn't have a gym, you didn't have parking, you didn't have all the amenities, you didn't have any restaurant. I mean, I had restaurants right by me, but you didn't have, like, I was paying a bunch for a gym, I was paying a bunch for parking. Here, I have a gym. It's a great gym too. Each building has a gym. There's a pool. I had to pay for a pool extra if I wanted a pool. You had to be like top tier at the gym. So I mean, it came to me where I was at around $600 for rent on that apartment, and with all the extras and all the other stuff I had to buy, I was around, with electricity, $900, $950. This place was $1,000. The electricity's cheaper. My electricity bill, if I'm working the AC real hard, it can be $2 million. If I'm not working the AC that hard and kind of sweating it out, it can be as little as $1 million. So my electricity always at the other place was like 1.8, almost always. So yeah, that's where you want to make the decision. It might be okay for like 6 months to live in you know, like a small Viet apartment building in a Viet area, like in Quan 3 or Quan 1, and you might really like that experience. If you're a real easy sleeper and things don't wake you up, that might be a great experience for you as well. The other problem I had is that building was an Airbnb building, so people were coming and going all the time, and it was only 4 units, but they were all stacked on top of each other. And if you look at that first apartment I had, it had glass doors, so like sound was terrible. You could hear people having sex, you could hear people arguing, you could hear everything. So that wore thin on me. I didn't mind my first 2 months because I was never home. I only just came home and slept. Now I'm home more. I shoot a lot of vlogs, and then I go in, I do my IT back in the States. I'm inside a lot more. So for me, I still don't regret this decision for this apartment at all. It is too expensive for me now. I had a 2-month rent reduction down to $800. I am gonna try to ask for a couple more months at the $800 so I can get a little bit more on my feet. The landlord's really nice, so I think they will do that. I'm not sure. Hopefully they do. We'll make plans to move though if they can't after the lease is over and get something cheaper, because I'm really, once you can travel again worldwide, I'm really gonna travel a lot. So how do you actually find an apartment now that we're 5 minutes into me talking about other crap? So there's multiple ways. Don't work on stuff now. There's multiple ways. So the best way, the first time I went to a thing called Housing. Finally stopped working on the subway system. So the subway's great. I've been trying to shoot drone footage of it. But anyways, back to what we were at. So the best way I found to find apartments here is through Facebook groups, through Facebook leasing agents. There's a caveat though to having a leasing agent is they get 1 month's rent. So they try, when you lease through a leasing agent or through Housing, almost every place is gonna want 2 months down for a deposit. Here's the awesome thing, there's no credit check here. So you know, like my credit's shit in America, so I'd always have trouble getting in an apartment, even though like I've never been late on rent and I'm really good at paying rent. But here you don't have to worry about that. Like literally, they don't check any financials whatsoever. It's so awesome. So that is a super, super bonus to renting here. So yeah, anyways, the agent or the Housing agent takes 1 month of the rent. So they'll usually try to get you 2 months on the deposit. One thing I would try to do, which I did do with a few of the units, is the landlord usually shows it to you with the agent, request that the agent goes outside, and if you have a business card, hand it to the landlord and tell him to give you a call. And then you can just loop out the leasing agent, which I know that's a snaky thing to do to the leasing agent, but I don't know about them getting a whole month. That's a weird system that they got here. But anyways, man, we'll just ride through it. Sorry guys. I'm trying to be more and more professional with the vlogs these days. So yeah, so you'll do a leasing agent or you do a Facebook group. A price range for my place now, my 2-bedroom rents for about $800 here. That's for a nice apartment. If you want to see that video, it's the $1,000 luxury apartment. A 1-bedroom rents for around $600 to $750 here now. A 1-bedroom where I used to live that was like $600 would be like $500 now. So this would be the best time to rent here an apartment. So if you're planning to move here, you might want to do the 14-day quarantine when travel allows and get here quick, because then you can get a part of this cheap renting while it's still going. Finally done. So I'll link to the housing agent, and I'll actually link to the Facebook group as well. I'm actually trying to maybe try to get into that business as well and help expats find apartments, because I can speak English, and most of the landlords speak English as well. I've noticed almost all of my landlords that I've had, the past two, both speak English, and many of the places I saw, they spoke English. Also, I keep learning more and more Viet, so I should be able to muddle through that a little bit if I can get to that point. It's just an idea I'm tossing around. I'm just trying to get as many different flows of income in as I can, and I like being busy. So let me give you the pros and cons. We kind of went over that in the beginning. So a building like this, like the Vin home here, they're completely soundproof. You don't hear a thing. So if you are a light sleeper like I am, I would recommend some kind of Vin home, either Central or Golden River, or even a Pearl, or a Millennium building, or any of the nice high-rise buildings. You're paying a little bit more, but you're getting so much more with it. I don't know if you've ever experienced a bad apartment where just, you're annoyed every second, you hate your neighbor, they're playing the music. With these places, you don't have to worry about that. Now, with a Viet apartment, yeah, that's gonna be an issue. You're gonna get super lucky if you're not by a construction site and if you don't have one neighbor that's at least doing whatever he wants. And Vietnamese don't mind this stuff. I think he's finally done doing all that stuff. So yeah, in short, Saigon is a very great place to live. If you're very sensitive to noise like I am, you're gonna want a nicer, newer building that has soundproofing in, and you get all the nice amenities. I think it's well worth it. I have zero regrets about living in Vinhome, Golden River. I've had almost no bad experiences here. I can't say enough good about Vinhomes altogether. I hated Vinhomes at first, especially Central, because it's just like, Central is not for me. I wouldn't live in Central. I like Golden River because there's not many buildings. If there was a bunch of buildings, like 20 of them, I probably wouldn't be into it. But it's just a pros and cons thing. If you don't mind noise, if you're not gonna be home much, you can get a much cheaper apartment in D1 or D3 or Quan 2. Quan 2 seems to be really popular for Americans and expats. I have heard Quan 2 floods though. So if you don't like walking through crazy water up to your knee almost for a couple months out of the year, you might not like Quan 2, but Quan 2 look great. I'll get prices on Quan 2 too. Maybe I'll put a little price guide in the description here of those 3 districts, because those are the 3 I'm most familiar with. You'll definitely want to be in Quan 1 when you first move here. I'm going to say that for sure. You're going to want to do a lot of the stuff Quan 1 has to offer. You're going to want to hit Bui Vien a bunch, especially if you like to drink and party. I love to drink and party, so I had a blast on Bui Vien my first 2 months, and then it just gets completely old. I have almost no desire to go there. I'm going to go there this weekend because I want to shoot a vlog and show the people that even that's back in action. So yeah, in short, you can probably get an apartment as cheap as 400 bucks here right now, which is the cheapest it's been in like 3 or 4 years, I think they were saying in the article I read. And you can get into Golden River pretty cheap. You can get into Golden River for, 800 bucks for a 2-bedroom, a nice one. So those are the options you have to weigh out. It's really easy to get an apartment, like I said. You don't have to have a credit score. They don't check anything. They don't check finances. They just say, if they say it's 2 months to move in, you just give them the cash and you're moved in. Bob's your uncle. The lease, you want to read over. Oh, as far as leases go, they almost always do a 1 year. When I first moved here, there was a lot of 6-month options, but those have slowly gone away. Maybe now they'll go back to a 6-month option now that everything's taken a little dip, but always try to get a 6-month option. I fought like hell to try to get a 6-month option here. They just wouldn't do it, but always try to get a 6-month. Read the lease, from top to bottom. Make sure it has everything that you think is right in there, and if anything you want to add it into the lease. Just think about it. Make sure you do pictures and check on everything the day you rent it, so you don't get charged with anything when you leave. Those are the two most important things here when renting an apartment. And the leasing agents usually are really good on the Facebook. I'll point you out to the group I used for Facebook, and I'll point you to the housing as well. Anything else on the apartments I can think of? Yeah, so if you're gonna get a motorbike, and if you're gonna get a nice one like I did, you're gonna want a place like this because it's indoor parking, guarded 24/7. My bike is a high theft bike, so I was not happy to be leaving it in an outdoor parking. It was like half covered, but I'd wash my bike and it was completely dirty the next day, and you know, the guys would fall asleep. So it wasn't the most ideal situation, and I had to pay like $300K for that, which is for $12. Doesn't sound like a lot to you, but it's a lot here when you're talking relativity. So definitely check your lease. If you're gonna get a nice bike, you're gonna want indoor parking. If you're sensitive to sound, you're gonna wanna be in a building like this where everything's soundproof. It came with TVs, all that stuff. If you don't mind that, if you wanna be here the cheapest, you're gonna wanna get one of the like 4 or 5 unit places that's gonna probably have a construction site somewhere nearby. That's a good thing to check. If you don't like construction sites, survey the area and make sure there's not a construction site going on, because they don't follow any kind of guidelines. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends, hit the Patreon if you want to hit the Patreon. You can email me any questions you have in my email. It's listed in the description. Any questions at all, you can ask me. I'm an open book. I almost always reply. If you need to get to me quick, you can DM me on Instagram. It's fatandbroke_. Yeah, I'm glad to help everyone. My whole channel is about positivity and helping people out. So I hope that you find this very helpful to you. And if it does, leave a comment in. That's great. Hit the like. The more comments, more likes, the more YouTube shows me. So everybody stay safe, stay healthy in these times. Wear your mask if you're in America. Stay frosty. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.